Some of you will have started the Black Death topic just before the school shut. However, I know that some of my classes were a week behind, so we're going to do a little bit of background just so everyone can remember or everyone can catch up. So, keywords we need to go over for this topic are firstly, the plague. So, plague means widespread illness, symptoms, which means the signs of having an illness, dazed, which means not being able to think properly, and buboes, which are swollen lumps which form in your groin, your neck, or in your armpits. So, where did the Black Death come from? Well, people believe that it originated in Central Asia and it made its way to China by 1343. They think that it was carried by fleas, who at the time were living on black rats. Now, these black rats really liked the conditions of merchant ships because they were dark, they were damp, and these are conditions that rats liked. This led to more rats, which led to more fleas. Now, these ships travelled throughout the world, taking goods from China all across the world. So, by 1347, the Black Death arrived in Italy, and it was from here that it made its way throughout Europe. This picture here gives you an idea of how it actually travelled. So if you look at the right of the map, it starts out in Asia and then comes down underneath Europe, arriving in Italy where it's a darker red. It then spreads out across Europe as time goes on. And throughout this period, it's believed that 75 to 200 million people died due to the Black Death. But what were the symptoms of the Black Death? How do we know that someone actually had it? Well, there were 6 things that could happen to you. Number 1, you could get buboes. You got large lumps under your armpits. Number 2, you were violently sick. Number 3, you got red patches appearing all across your skin. 4, you would get shakes or have fits. Number 5, the buboes would burst, letting black pus out. And the last thing that could happen is that you could die, because obviously death was very common in the Black Death. So, task number 1, the class that I get on a Thursday morning, I know I've done this, but if you have not, or you're in other classes, here is your first task. In the files section, you'll see this document. You simply are going to write underneath each picture what the symptom is. Okay, so either go back, watch the video again, or look at the PowerPoint. So, here is new information for everyone. So, even if you're in the Thursday class, this is new for you too. So we're going to start talking about the plague doctor. Now, you might have seen him in films and TV programmes, but this is what a plague doctor looked like. And he was a medical professional who was in charge of treating people who were believed to have the plague. He was paid his wages by cities, which meant that he would treat both poor people and rich people. He wasn't just for rich people because it was the actual city giving his wage. Now, he had very distinct items of clothing. Number 1, he wore a mask which had glass openings for his eyes, but a curved beak shape like a bird's beak. This was filled with flowers and nice smelling things because people thought they could prevent the plague by stopping bad smell. Number 2, he wore a large, wide brimmed hat. Now, the hat didn't do anything to stop the plague, it was just more to make him look professional so he could stand out, and so people knew he was the doctor, and maybe this would hope that those affected by the plague might avoid him. Number 3, he wore a large leather jacket which covered his full body. Now, the leather is very difficult for a flea to bite, so it hoped that this would protect his skin from fleas actually biting him and giving him the plague. He would also have gloves on, which were very important if he was inspecting people who he believed to have the plague. It stopped him touching them and coming into contact. These would most likely also be leather to stop fleas biting them too. The last thing which he would have would be a large wooden cane. So he would have a cane in his hand, and this meant that he could examine patients without actually having to touch them himself. He would simply just point to the infected areas to get a better look at them. So this leads us on to our tasks. We're going to have 2 tasks related to the plague doctor. Task number 1, you're all going to find this template in your files part of Microsoft Teams, and your task is to label the 5 different aspects of the plague doctor's sort of outfit or his costume. and I want you to give a brief description of each area. So either pause the video and go back or look at the PowerPoint. Then task number 3, you will also find you have this triangle template. You're going to pick 3 pieces of protective clothing which the plague doctor owned. On the top, you're going to tell me which one you think is the most important. Why is it at the top of your pyramid? So why do you think it's the most important? In the middle, what do you think is quite important, and tell me why? And then on the bottom, which item do you think is the least important, and tell me why you think that. Once you're done, you got the full week to do these. Email them to me at gw19gardnerfiona@glow.sch.uk. You can also message me on the teacher Instagram if you're stuck, if you need help, or we can just upload them back to Teams as well, okay? So you can look at the PowerPoints for more information. I'll upload that. I'll make sure everything is in your forms, your 3 tasks. They'll be on one Word document and you can fill them in. And then you've got until the end of this week to get them back to me, okay?